Now part of the Darkcast Network. Welcome to Indie Podcasts with a Dark Side. At around 9 p.m. on January 22nd, 2025, police were called to a house in Plymouth, UK. Outside the home on West Hoe Road, they found 48-year-old Claire Chick with multiple stab wounds. First responders did everything they could to save her, stabilizing her on the scene and rushing her to Derryford Hospital. But despite their efforts, Claire was pronounced dead about an hour later. Detective Inspector Rob Smith told reporters that they were supporting Claire's family at what is an extremely awful time for them. Welcome, lambs. Welcome to Love and Murder, Heartbreak to Homicide. This is your weekly true crime podcast telling you cases of relationships that turn to murder while also being the voice of the victims. My name is Kai, and I will be your host. I do invite you to take a seat, take a listen all the way to the end, and if you like my retelling, then don't forget to go ahead and subscribe. You can also subscribe, if you didn't know, on our Patreon, patreon.com/Love and Murder. We do have a free option that you can subscribe and never miss an episode, and you do get some benefits of being a free subscriber. But if you want bonus episodes, if you want case files, and if you want to be a voice of the victims right alongside me, then choose one of our bonus tiers and become part of the Lamb Fam, patreon.com/Love and Murder. Now, without further ado, go ahead and grab your butts, grab your delicious glass of apple juice, and let's get back into this case of the murder of Claire Chick. Police immediately locked down the area. Dozens of officers were deployed to protect evidence and start the search for the suspect. Now, this wasn't actually an isolated attack behind closed doors. Not saying that there were more people involved. What I'm saying is that this happened in public, and neighbors saw everything. And not just neighbors, anybody who was passing by at the time. Neighbors recognized the attacker as Claire's husband, 53-year-old Paul Butler. Now, I'm going to pause here. So there are two people in here named Paul. So there's Paul Butler and Paul Maxwell. So, I normally go by first names, but for this episode, I'm going to go by last name for these two Pauls so we don't mix up who they are. So we were talking about the attacker was Claire's 53-year-old estranged husband, Paul Butler. Now, like I said, this was out for everyone to see, so a driver who was just passing by was able to describe the attack to the police, and they said the attack was vicious. He said that Butler was, quote, really going for it. After stabbing Claire, Butler then chased after a man named Paul Maxwell, yelling to him, quote, "I'll effing do you too." Claire Chick was more than just a victim. She was a respected university lecturer, the associate head of school for international at the University of Plymouth School of Nursing and Midwifery. She'd worked there since 2015. Before that, she was a cardiac nurse and a cardiac research nurse in Leicester. Claire dedicated her life to helping others, developing nursing programs not just in the UK, but across Europe, Africa, and Asia. She was also the mother of two daughters, Bethany Hancock Baxter and Lydia Pierce, and she was a grandmother. Her family described her as a caring, vibrant, and driven person. Her father, Alan Butler, no relation to Paul, said that she was a good person, happy and outgoing. Quote, her nursing career was heading for great heights. There was not much backstory on Paul Anthony Butler. All I know is that he was Claire's estranged husband, so they were separated, not divorced yet, and he was a doorman, and he was described as significantly taller than Claire. He was 6'5", and she was 5'2", or in the metric system, as some of my listeners prefer, he was 1.96 meters and she was 1.57 meters. Claire and Butler became neighbors in 2021 after her first marriage had ended. By summer 2022, they were a couple. They married in June 2024, but almost immediately after the wedding, Claire had doubts, and actually, the honeymoon marked the, quote, end of the relationship. Claire told friends that she regretted marrying Butler, saying, quote, everything was about him. By late August 2024, she told him she wanted to live alone, so he moved out in September. What followed was 6 months of stalking and harassment. Claire's life became a daily battle for safety and peace of mind as she tried to navigate a nightmare that only escalated no matter how many times she asked for help. Butler refused to accept that their relationship was over. He constantly texted her. He hung around her house. He even installed a tracker in her car. He emailed her constantly at work and even blocked the sale of her house so she couldn't move. He made threats against Claire, against others, against himself. He was jealous and didn't like that she was seeing someone new. He tried to make her jealous too, telling her that he was dating other women, which she was probably like, okay, then go be with those other women. If you're dating all these women, why are you still here? Claire reported him to the police over and over. Court records actually showed that she made 6 separate statements to the police, telling them how he was tracking her, stalking her, threatening her, and how he refused to leave her alone. Because of this, he ended up being arrested 3 times for assault, for harassment, and for stalking. Every time they let him out on bail. And they would say, stay away, because a piece of paper and a verbal encouragement to stay away or else is going to make a stalker stop, right? Absolutely not. So he kept showing up wherever she was. Basically, why do y'all keep letting him out and just giving him a talking to? If it didn't work the first time, if it didn't work the second time, did you think the third time was the charm? On January 21st, just one day before her murder, Claire told her solicitor that Butler had breached his bail conditions again. She was frustrated by police inaction. In her final statement to police, she said, quote, "I only feel that Butler will kill me if further action is not taken. I am in fear of leaving my house." And then she turned around and told her friends that she believed that one day he's going to murder her. When someone told her that Butler had changed his Facebook name to, quote, Stan Gray Strangler, Claire replied, quote, "Oh my God, I'm at the police station. I just wish he would get on with it and put me out of my misery." She was basically giving up. Nobody was listening to her. Nobody was helping her. And they just kept letting him out. So if she went to you and said, "Excuse me, officer, this guy who has clearly been harassing me and stalking me, and y'all have put him in jail 3 times for this, just changed his Facebook profile to say that he was a strangler," what would y'all do if that? Say, "Well, it's just, online. Until he actually puts his hands around your neck, ma'am, we can't help you." This is why some people just feel helpless. You have all the proof. I can understand if it was just somebody saying something and trying to get somebody in trouble, but you literally had all the proof that this guy was escalating and he looked like he was going to hurt her in the future. And all your papers and all your warnings wasn't stopping it. So why were you not listening to her? As I said, Claire had started seeing someone new, Paul Maxwell. So that night, she was heading out to meet him. So when she left her house, Butler, who was drunk and wearing a camouflage hoodie, calmly walked up to her. He grabbed her arm and immediately just started stabbing her. She screamed, quote, "Get off me!" But he just kept going. CCTV and dash cam footage captured all 22 minutes of the attack. 22 minutes of this guy stabbing her. I can't even wrap my head around that. After he was finished, that's when he chased Maxwell down the road, threatening to stab him too. Then Butler fled, tossing the knife, his jacket, and his cap in a nearby trash can. Police was able to track him to Premier Inn in Lisk. Okay, I don't know how to say this. Liskard? Liskeard, Liskard. They tracked him to Premier Inn in Liskard, which was about 20 miles away from Plymouth. Around 7:40 p.m., they forced entry into his room. As he'd barricaded the door, and they saw that he was in the throes of an overdose. He also needed surgery for a hand injury from what looked like a suicide attempt. In the hospital, Butler confessed and said, quote, "She trusted me and she loved me, and I can't believe I've done this. She has grandchildren and children. I have destroyed so many lives, not just one. I'm a monster." And he said he was going to hell. So my thing is, so after you did this, that's when you suddenly, oh my God, I can't believe I did this. You couldn't have done that before. You couldn't have thought about her children and grandchildren before. After is when you think this. Honestly, sir, I don't think you cared. You just wanted this done. You got it done. And then you're trying to do the crocodile tears so that maybe you'll get a reduced sentence. He told police that he stopped at McDonald's after the murder. See what I'm saying? He went to eat after he did this. So what's up with the crocodile tears and acting like you're so sorry for what you did? You went to have a meal after 22 minutes of attacking her and then running after somebody else to attack them too. As he was sitting in the McDonald's, contemplating, I don't know how hungry he is and having a McFlurry, he texted a friend saying, quote, "I am pretty certain I have ended her. I loved her so much. I meant to get him, but F him. I killed her. I tried to get him, but he ran." And then he told that friend that he planned to overdose, saying that it was, quote, "better than a life sentence." He was arrested and charged with murder and possession of a bladed article. Butler explained to police that he was basically fueled by jealousy after learning that Claire had moved on. And he admitted to spending January 22nd lurking outside of her work. He later bought a pack of kitchen knives at Sainsbury's and threw away all of these knives except the biggest one. So premeditation. You planned this. All this time that you're planning this, you didn't think about her children and her grandchildren, or even her. You were just planning this because she moved on. He claimed the knife was to slash car tires or intimidate Maxwell. Later, Judge Robert Linford would dismiss this defense by saying, quote, "You bought the knife for the specific purpose for which it was used, stabbing someone, not slashing tires. Basically, shut the with that bull, like, you're lying, we all know you're lying, stop it." Prosecutor Joanne Martin went into Butler's 6-month campaign of stalking Claire. She reminded them that he had been arrested 3 times and that he still wouldn't stop. The court heard about Claire's growing terror through her friends, saying that she believed that he would kill her. And also her solicitor told the court the same thing. Adam Vatilingham, KC, represented Butler, acknowledged that a, quote, "life sentence is inevitable for his client and that Butler would be, quote, "an old man before he can be considered for release." So what is your defense here? While his defense stated that Butler did not say that he did everything that Claire said he did, he said they actually met up in mid-December, and he thought when they met up that they were going to reconcile. But he did say he was remorseful for some of the stuff that he did agree he did. So basically what this means is he said that I didn't do all that stuff. I didn't stalk her. I didn't put the tracking device in her car, all this stuff. I didn't do all this. She's making this up. But I am sorry that she felt that way. Anyway, we got back together in mid-December. We talked and I thought we were going to get together, but that didn't happen. So my question is, how is this a defense? Okay. Who cares? Who cares if they actually got back together as a couple in December, and then she changed her mind a day later? What does that have to do with a good, delicious plate of spaghetti in Italy? I don't understand. That was like one of the worst defenses I've ever heard. His defense said that Butler was, quote, "adamant that he didn't go to the address that night to attack Claire Chick, and that, quote, "someone else was the target of the attack." To which the judge said, "Okay, just stop it right there. We're really tired of hearing your lies." Basically, all the evidence pointed that you went over there to attack her, and even if you went over there to attack Maxwell, you still went over there to attack her. And how is this a defense? You literally went to attack somebody. So it was still premeditated murder. It's still the same charges. What are we defending here? Like, really, in all honesty, what are we defending here? I didn't go over there to attack Claire. I went over there to attack Maxwell. Really? I think the defense literally had nothing to go on, so they just had to say words. On March 18th, 2025, Butler pled guilty to murder and possession of a knife. Since he did this, he pled guilty before his trial was supposed to actually start in July. They passed the trial phase and went directly to the sentencing phase. So on April 25th was the sentencing, and it took place at Plymouth Crown Court. Judge Linford called it a case of, quote, obsession and control, and he described the attack as, quote, a frenzied, brutal, murderous assault full of sheer murderous brutality involving sustained and excessive violence towards the victim. I can't even disagree with him. 22 minutes. Quote, you did not just hurt and kill Claire. You have caused untold harm and misery to her family and friends. The loss of Claire has left an irreplaceable void in the lives of so many people. You are responsible for all of this suffering by so many and you alone. Butler was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 27 years. He also received 18 months for the knife charge to run concurrently. Claire's family delivered impact statements in court. Her daughter Bethany called Butler an evil man who killed out of jealousy. Quote, let's be honest. You must have thought if you can't have her, then no one can. I live every day not as Bethany. I'm now the girl whose mother was killed by her husband. Her youngest daughter Lydia said, quote, stabbing my mom 23 times is not love. That is murder. This was no accident. This was no mistake. You made sure she was gone and was never coming back. Lydia said that she lives with a dark cloud hanging over her head every day. Quote, I can't be happy about things because my mom can't be here to enjoy it too. This is a life sentence for myself. Maxwell remembered Claire as, quote, beautiful, funny, and kind, and made the world smile whenever she was around. She cared about everyone and was so proud of her family. He also said that he lives in constant fear and is always on the edge. I mean, if somebody said they were coming to stab you, I understand what I understand what he's saying. Because remember him, he had come off of the run and he ended up seeing the end results of what Butler did. And then after Butler did that, now imagine 22 minutes of stabbing someone. So he had blood all over him. After Butler did that, he turned around and started running towards Maxwell. So it's kind of traumatizing what Maxwell even went through and what he saw. Claire's father, Alan, told Butler, quote, you have robbed the world of an extremely talented high achiever. You have murdered my daughter and broken my heart, and you will go straight to hell, he said. CPS Representative Andrew Escott Watson called it a, quote, truly senseless and appalling crime that shocked the community. After sentencing, Bethany launched a petition. She wants convicted murderers to start their sentencing in Category A prisons. She called it an egregious oversight that Butler was placed in a Category C facility. So let's see, what is a Category A prison? Category A prisons are the highest security facilities in the UK, designed to house inmates who pose the greatest threat to public safety and national security, while Category C prisons are designed to house inmates who are considered to be of lower risk, but still require a secure environment focusing on rehabilitation and preparation for eventual release. Why is he in a Category C if you said life sentence? So what she's saying is he should have been put in a Category A, and she's petitioning to have convicted murderers start their sentences in a Category A. Quote, given the nature of their crimes, convicted murderers pose a significant threat to society and should therefore start their sentences in Category A prisons. This is what she wrote. The Ministry of Justice said that it doesn't comment on individual prisoners, but confirmed that Butler will remain behind bars for many years. They explained that most men are held in Category C prisons, which are designed for training and resettlement. Prison classification is reviewed based on risk assessment. Police and Crime Commissioner Alison Hernandez said the murder of Claire Chick was a tragedy. She pointed to alarming statistics. One woman is killed by an abusive partner or X every 5 days in England and Wales. 1 in 5 women will be stalked. 1 in 4 will experience domestic abuse. Quote, "These are our mothers, daughters, sisters, and friends. We need robust, radical strategies to prevent violence and abuse, intervene early, and bring offenders to justice." I just can't get over those stats. In the UK, 1 woman is killed by an abusive partner or ex every 5 days. And this is the stats for England and Wales. I'm sure other countries have maybe similar stats, but that's still, I'm not saying it's better. I'm not giving excuses. That's just alarming and shocking. Because Claire had previously contacted police, Devon and Cornwall police made a mandatory referral to the Independent Office for Police Conduct. So they're investigating why they kept letting Butler out, and that investigation is still ongoing. Police also conducted an urgent review of all active stalking cases and made immediate changes to their procedures. This story of Claire Chick talks about the devastating consequences of domestic abuse, of stalking, and of coercive control. It's a call for continued vigilance and robust strategies to protect the vulnerable and bring predators to justice. So if you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, in the UK, women can call the free phone National Domestic Abuse Helpline at 0808 2000 247 for free anytime, day or night. This is confidential and non-judgmental. So again, for women in the UK, 0808 2000 247. Or men of the UK can call Respect Men's Advice Line at 0808 8010 327. 0808 8010 327. In the U.S., you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233, 1-800-799-7233, or go to thehotline.org. And if you go to any one of these websites, if you go to the free phone National Domestic Abuse Helpline, if you go to the Respect Men's Advice Line, if you go to thehotline.org, each site tells you how to delete this history if you're afraid that the person abusing you might find that you visited the site. All calls are toll-free and confidential. It is also no judgment, and they will offer you information and support. The hotlines are available 24/7 in more than 170 languages. The men's line is available Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can also visit the web chat at Men's Advice Line. I will have all of this information in the show notes below. Do not do this by yourself. Do not think that you are alone. Do not continue taking it until it's too late. Get help. Talk to somebody, whether it's someone on these lines, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member. The first step is talking it through. And that is the case of the murder of Claire Chick. What do y'all think about that case? I think the entire case was crazy. One of the craziest parts to me, I mean, the whole thing was crazy, but one of the craziest parts to me is the defense trying to defend. Like, they said a bunch of words, but it just was no defense. It was just like, why are you still talking? And so from that, I just have to think that they're like, well, he's guilty. He's guilty, Your Honor. But in order for me to get a paycheck, I have to defend him. So I'm going to say everything that he did, and that's going to just be the defense. I just didn't understand the defense, you know? Anyways, let me know your thoughts on this case in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you. And speaking of comments, let me read some of your comments. So last weekend, and I did have one I wanted to do this weekend, but this weekend has been like really just crazy, so I might do it for next weekend. There was just a case that I had to talk about. But last weekend, that happened as well. I had a case that I just had to talk about, and it was a father who ran and hid as his son was kidnapped. I also put that video out in the Patreon, so if you wanted to see that video, and it's out there for everyone. So you can actually just go to the Patreon and join for free, and the video of this grown man running inside and slamming his door while his son got kidnapped is out into Patreon. Patreon.com/Love and Murder. Like I said, it's there if you just become a free member. And Vicky Stevenson said, that poor child, feeling loved much? I look, Vicky, I get where you're coming from because that poor child has nobody. Like, his father let him be kidnapped. His mother didn't even try and get him back. And it's going to hit, he's only 7. It's going to hit that poor child one day that the people that are supposed to protect him just didn't. No matter how much gaslighting his father's going to do, and he's going to do some gaslighting because he was trying to gaslight us. And if you want to hear the gaslighting, just listen to that episode. I think that was last Saturday or Sunday I put it out or something like that. The link to that episode will be in the show notes below, but he was trying to gaslight us. So, and we don't even live with him. So imagine he's going to try and gaslight the frick out of his son. But his son is going to grow to realize what a POS his father is. And then with that episode, I linked it back to a previous episode where this guy, no joke, hid under the bed while his wife and his son were kidnapped. It's just model dad/husbands just all over the place in these episodes, huh? The next comment I'm going to read comes from a jealous mother abuses her 6 kids and horrifically murders 2 of her daughters. The case of Teresa Noor. If you haven't heard that case, you have to hear. That case was just, I don't understand. Well, I don't understand any of these people. Either way, that link is in the show notes below. Chelly XOXO said, all of the work you put into this for someone to rate 1 star over something so ridiculous is heartless. Chell XOXO, yeah. Thank you for noticing. I get 1 stars over the most ridiculous things. I've gotten 1 star over they didn't like my accent, which, I mean, what accent? I mean, all of us have an accent. Don't get me wrong. All of us have an accent. And you can probably hear my Caribbean accent a little bit in there, but you don't like my accent because I'm from the Caribbean. I don't know what you want me to do. Did you want me to come on here being from the Caribbean, but speaking with a German accent? I could try an Australian accent if that's better for you. But yeah, I got a 1 star for that. I also got a 1 star for, it was a horrific case of child abuse and child murder, but the person also had killed a dog in it. And they were like, you know what? I understand this is a case of child murder, but not putting a warning to say animal death or animal murder or animal cruelty or something like that is just, I can't. And I was just like, are we just missing the whole fact that the child got murdered here? I'm not dismissing that the animal got murdered. That's horrific as well. But are we just missing the fact that the child got murdered? 1 star. Yeah. I've gotten 1 stars for such craziness. And I had a 1 star for something so egregious that I literally came on to do an episode just about that 1 star because I couldn't even. I believe you can find that in the Patreon for free also. You're going to have to go back a ways. But you can sign up for the Patreon. I don't know if I put it out to public or free. I would have to go back and check. I'm going to go ahead and check. And if it's not for free, I'll just, because it's been so long, I'll just put it for everybody. So if you sign up for free, you could hear that rant on this person giving me 1 star. I don't even remember what it was. I just remember it was so stupid, so egregious that I just came on here, grabbed my mic, and I was like, are you effing kidding me? To the point that they removed a 1 star because they realized they were stupid. I don't know. But I've gotten 1 stars for just dumb reasons. But people are easy to give me 1 stars, 2 stars, 3 stars. And if you like the show, if you can go on whatever platform you're on to give me a 5-star rating, that would be greatly appreciated because that's going to offset these 1 stars that I get for no reason. We don't like your lisp. We don't like your accent. Okay, I can't help you with that. But thank you, Shell XOXO, for your comment. The next comment comes from the case of the Indiana father who attacked his wife with a tire iron and then murders his 3-year-old son. This case was a piece of work. This was the case of Elisard Moneas. KB123 says, I wonder why the couple hadn't spoken for days. This is such a sad and horrible case. Yeah, KB, I completely agree. That was a really sad and horrible case. And I don't know what this, I mean, okay, I was going to say, I don't know what this dude was thinking, but if I ever was on the same process as these people, I guess I would just be as crazy as they are. Spectre in the Shell said, most often, most pedophiles molest people they know. If a woman is killed, it is by a man that she knows, etc. They said that some humans are predators to their own species. And the Spectre, yes, this is the statistics that is out there. You know, most pedophiles molest people they know because they do have to groom them. And I guess most women are killed by a man that she knows. I don't know if I want to say most women are killed by a man that she knows, but a lot of women are killed by men that they know, because there's always something emotionally backed behind those killings. You know, if I can't have you, no one will. I can't believe you embarrassed me like that. Stuff like that. So, yeah. The next comment I have comes from the case of game of hide and seek turns to murder when women left man to die in a suitcase. The case of Sarah Boone. And literally that title tells it all. That this woman was insane, and then she tried to act like she didn't do anything. And for this one, apparently I had a poll out, and the question was, do you think her sentencing was too harsh? Do you think she should have gotten a lower sentence or a harsher sentence? And 100% of y'all said a harsher sentence. So if you want to find out what sentence she had gotten, that everybody thinks that she should have gotten a harsher sentence, then just click on the episode link in the show notes below if you haven't heard this case or if you forgot about this case. And the last comment I'm going to read is going to be, okay, so this episode was originally going to be a Florida Man Friday episode, right? But I don't know what it was. You'll have to listen to the episode. I don't know what it was that I just didn't feel like putting it out as a Florida Man episode, and I did a different episode instead. But I had already recorded this one, so I just put it in the Patreon. So the title of this one was The Unpublished Florida Man Friday Episode, Bleeding Heads, Belligerence, and Getting Kicked off of a Flight. And Christina Bobo said, the self-entitlement to inconvenience an entire plane of people when all they had to do was depart the plane is crazy. Live streaming when you're in the wrong is so delusional too, shaking my head. And literally just a short synopsis to not give the case away. This guy was bleeding from his head, and they were on a plane, and the plane staff was telling them that this is a biohazard and you can't be on the plane like this. And they wouldn't leave. So to hear that episode, you just need to be part of the Lamb Fam on the Patreon, patreon.com/Love and Murder. For this episode, you could even sign up at the $3 a month tier, because this was supposed to be a Florida Man Friday episode, and I just didn't want to post it. So it's even at the $3 a month tier, where the $3 a month tier is the tier where you get commercial-free episodes, ad-free episodes, and you get the case bonuses, like you get the case extras and stuff. So for this episode, if you just do that tier, you can also get this one. And the link to that one is also in the show notes below. And don't forget, you can join the Patreon to help be a voice of the victim. That's the main thing you're doing. You're helping me be a voice of the victim, getting these cases out, getting these stories heard, letting people know, just like with this case of Claire Chick, like, what were y'all doing? Why didn't you keep Butler in prison? This is the stuff that gets heard. Some of these people, in terms of some of the law enforcement, some of the CPS, it needs to be shouted out that they were not doing their job. And it needs to be made sure that the reforms that they said they were putting into place are actually being put into place. Now, let me get this straight. I am not saying all law enforcement here. I'm just saying some departments throughout the world. And then on top of that, being the voice of the victim, being that these crazy people decided to murder them. And their story needs to go out. And I usually try to tell the story in the way that I would think if this was my family member, how would I want somebody to tell this story? Would I want people to be as outraged as I am? And this is what I do. So by being a part of the Lamb Fam on the Patreon, you're allowing me to continue being the voice of the victim, which in turn, you are the voice of the victim as well. On top of that, if that's not enough, then you do get bonus episodes, you do get case extras, you do get behind the scenes and so much more, depending on what bonus tier you choose. Patreon.com/Love and Murder. So that is all that I have for you in today's episode. Don't forget every single episode that I mentioned here. All the links are in the show notes below. I also want to hear from you on this case. What did you think about this case? Why do you think they did not leave Butler in prison? Why do you think they kept letting him out? Have you ever had an incident like this where you're constantly just trying to get away? This person is not letting you get away, whether you're a male or female, where you've been trying to get away and this person is not letting you get away. You've tried calling law enforcement and nothing is happening. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Share your stories with me. I would love to read it on the air. If you want your comments to be anonymous, you could also just email it to me, noconductradio@gmail.com. Just say, here's my comment. Please don't read my name out, but you could definitely email it to me and I will keep it anonymous, noconductradio@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. And as I end each full episode, I want to remind you that it's, say it with me now, all love and no murder, y'all. Stay tuned for my commercial guest. Bye.
On Wiki Travel, the Pacific Northwest is best known for its beautiful coastline, green interior, rainy weather, and spectacular mountains. But because of all this, it's also the perfect place to go missing. My name's Carmita, and I grew up in the Pacific Northwest in Portland, Oregon. I host a podcast called Missing in the PNW. My podcast is different from others you may have heard because I focus specifically on two things. The first is that all of the missing person cases that I cover are strictly from the Pacific Northwest in Oregon and Washington. I know, the title of my podcast should have given that one away. The second thing is that my podcast focuses strictly on missing persons from marginalized communities, such as the Black, Hispanic, Native American and Indigenous people, and the LGBTQ plus communities. You know, the ones that get absolutely no media attention. Now, I am not an investigative journalist or a reporter. I'm actually a widowed mom of 3 who loves true crime and has a passion for social justice. So join me in helping to spread the word on these missing person cases and help be the voice for the ones that are now voiceless. You can find Missing in the PNW on all of the major streaming apps, as well as on socials at Missing in the PNW Podcast. If you have a case you want me to cover, please email me at missinginthepnw@gmail.com or send me a message through Facebook Messenger. I hope to talk to you soon. And remember, have fun, but be safe.